Okay, thank you everybody for coming. I'm sure a few more will join us, but we want to go ahead and get started and just echo what Tasna put in the chat. It's like a Zoom call with all my favorite people. That's how I feel. Okay, let's start with a prayer. If you can join me in prayer. Okay. Good evening, Heavenly Parent. Thank you so much for all the amazing women who are on this call tonight, Heavenly Parent, and even those who aren't able to join but want to watch the recording later. Yeah, I can't help but feel your great hope. When you see this group of your daughters, Heavenly Parent, and I know that we're living in a time in providential history that is so significant for daughters, Heavenly Parent, because we are making the space to reveal a part of you, God, that has not been understood throughout all of human history and has been the cause of so much difficulty and pain, Heavenly Parent. And I know that the women that are gathered here tonight intuitively understand that, God, and intuitively have worked in their own lives to make that space, Heavenly Parent. So I pray that you can really bless each of them for being here tonight and sacrificing their time with their busy schedules and managing families and work and other things they're involved in. And Heavenly Parent, I really want to pray for your spirit here tonight, Heavenly Parent, not my spirit, not someone else's spirit, Heavenly Parent, but your spirit. And I really pray for True Mother Spirit to be present tonight, Heavenly Parent, because that's why we're here. And I really pray that your message can come through and speak to each of your daughters that are here tonight, Heavenly Parent, in whatever way it manifests in their practical life, Heavenly Parent. So we just really want to create a precious space here and a holy space here that is connected to you and connected to our True Mother, and welcome you into this time. And I offer all these things in the name of David and Kayleigh Moffat of A Blessed Angel Family, Adieu. Okay, so already crying, great start. Actually, when I was sitting in the waiting room, I was sitting in this room watching the waiting room and watching the names that were showing up, and like I burst into tears, just like I feel so grateful for everybody who showed up tonight. And I also know that I'm not expecting any kind of like major commitments or anything like that, but what I feel from this group is just such a sincerity of heart. And I can't express my gratitude enough. So really big thank you to everybody for coming and maybe taking a risk or setting aside time in whatever else is going on to be present tonight. And what I want to also ask of you tonight is, I know many of you, myself included, are on a lot of Zoom calls and have and experiences of Zoom calls and maybe Zoom call fatigue. But I really want to ask for you to try to be as internally present as possible, because I hope that this is a internal experience, not a Zoom call, but I hope that this sparks something for you and manifests in whatever way that it makes sense for you in your life. So, gosh, so many wonderful people here. So what I want to ask is, I want you to think about two questions. And yes, I am going to do a breakout room. And I know how most people feel about breakout rooms, because actually I skip almost all of them. To be honest, I come purposely late to meetings to skip the breakout rooms. Katerina does too. So you're in good spirits if that's the case. But I want to remind you who's here. Who's here is your sisters. Who's here is these women who, for whatever reason, felt called to come tonight. And so this is a safe place this is the kind of people that you do want to connect with, that you do want to build relationships with. And I want to ask you 2 questions to share in those groups. The first one is, what brought you tonight? What's coming up for you that, planted a seed for you to come and check out tonight? And number 2 is, what do you feel like is on True Mother's heart right now? What are you sensing? What are you feeling? And what are you resonating with when you try to tap into what's on True Mother's heart? So again, the questions are, what brought you tonight? And what do you feel connected to when you think of what's on True Mother's heart? So we have 26 people. Okay. So I opened the breakout rooms. I know some of you, maybe it's really not possible to join a breakout room, and I get it. We're going to just try to do this for about 10 minutes.
Okay, bye.
Okay, welcome back. Obviously not enough time for 2 pretty deep questions, and some of the groups were larger than others, but thank you for at least creating a space and I think preparing your own internal atmosphere, which was my hope, is that if all of us, what I want to do tonight is share more artistically, more internally. And I know there's a lot of maybe more practical questions, which we can get into at another time, but I feel like the heart is the most important to start with. And I know each of you have your own journeys and your own testimonies and your own stories of what's brought you to this point in your life today, how God has been moving, how you've been challenged, how you've been growing, and something brought you here. And so I really respect and honor the way with which God has been working in your life, and also the growth in which you've taken responsibility for in your own life. So big thank you for that. And what I wanted to do was maybe share a little bit of my personal testimony, and then talk a little bit about some of Mother's words and what's on her mind and what she's really asking for, and how I feel like this generation of women could respond and what that could look like. So many of you I know personally, some of you maybe I don't know that well. And when I think about, anyways, lots of like stories and memories come up when I look at many of these faces. And it wasn't so long ago, if I'm being honest, that I wasn't so on the bandwagon of True Mother. And there was when I was working in youth ministry, and even when I was working in YAM, there was a distance for me in my relationship with Mother. I really believed in our movement. I believed in what we were trying to accomplish, but I never had the personal relationship that others did. And I kind of felt like that was okay. I felt like, God was working and I was seeing amazing things happen. And so it was enough to have my relationship with God as the center of what I was doing. But at a certain point in my work, especially in working in YAM, that I think I was being really confronted with my own lack of growth in that area. And with the realization that I, as a leader of others, that I was preventing and limiting the growth of those that I was responsible for, that I wasn't growing in myself. And thanks to really wonderful people in my life, like Tasna, who's here tonight, who I've always really respected her relationship with True Mother, I was pushed. And Tasna remembers there were conversations we had where I basically argued with her and didn't agree with True Mother and things like this. So I say that because I think we've all been on a journey, and many of our sisters and our friends and our brothers and our husbands and our parents, whoever they are on their journey too. And wherever they are is okay. That's where they're at, and God is working within that moment. But when I ended up leaving YAM and I started to work for UPF, it was a big challenge in my life. It was a big change. And I was confronted with like all the parts of our movement and True Parents that I didn't want to be responsible for in the past. Like especially as younger women, we and younger people in general, we can kind of pick and choose the aspects of the Providence that we want to support and be involved in. And, I realized through coming to UPF was that my YAM time was really like a bubble. Like, we could do all the things that we wanted to do and, connect with people that were really fun. And it was easy, actually. It was hard and we sacrificed a lot, but it was really not so difficult. When I started to work for UPF, I was working with people who were twice my age and had concepts of me, and mostly were men. And it was a whole other world. We were working with a lot of political leaders and a lot of, not so religious type people. And I found myself struggling with that until I finally actually realized that working in that realm healed my own understanding of True Parents. Because no longer in that realm of UPF did I have to refer to True Parents as the second coming or the Messiah. I started to refer to them as, the greatest peace builders. And I could prove, systematically, I could show how their life and their life's work and the projects that they started were examples of doing peace building work. And simultaneously, I was completing my master's in peace studies, and I could see True Parents actually are the models for peace building, and they're really doing it substantially. And so it changed my whole concept of True Parents and how I talked about them and who I talked to them about. And so, as examples, if you're a mom, you have like the mom friends of the school kids and things like that. And I would explain to them, I was going to Korea for a long time, and they're like, why are you going to Korea? And I would explain these True Parents and North and South Korea, and that's one of our main focuses. And their response is like, that's amazing, and I talk about how we bring together people of different religions and different cultures, different political affiliations, and they want more, like they want to be connected to that. So it really healed my concept of how I talk about True Parents. At the same time, working in that realm, I will be honest among sisters here, is that I really suffered internally. I really had a hard time. And I was there for about 2 years while I was witnessing like incredible miracles and, first row seat to witnessing to some of the top leaders that our movement is witnessing to, and those kinds of stories. I also felt like there wasn't a space for me to kind of find my calling and find my space to really let God work through me. And so some of you know that during, the last year of my time at UPF, I started a women's group, which grew into a podcast. And it was all about Mother's words, Mother's recent speeches. And I found a sisterhood of other women who were longing for the same thing I was, which was like tapping in to Mother's spirit and finding healing in that process. And not many people know this, but I put in April of last year, I put in a wish paper while I was in Korea, and I don't know if I believe in wish papers, but it's what good Moonies do. So I was struggling, and I asked really clearly for heaven to shift my public mission so that it was really fulfilling for me and healthy for my family. And I asked that of heaven. And so soon after, this opportunity to become the Women's Fed president came up, and I turned it down the first time and said, maybe not. And I went through all the processes and talked with all the people. And I said, I just don't think it's the right time. And eventually, Naokimi came back to me and pushed me again and framed it in the space of, Kayleigh, I really feel like True Mother needs a space to be understood in this time. And I think that Women's Federation is the place to do it. And I think you're the person to do it. And when he frames it like that, like, okay, here I am saying how I love True Mother, and True Mother, whatever you need of me, I will do, then I have to say yes, right? I never imagined I would come to Women's Fed. Not that I have anything against it. I just never imagined. So when I made this transition to Women's Federation, my greatest fear was how to work with the existing network of Women's Federation leaders who are mostly, our parents' age and who have been around for a long time. And I was coming after a president who had been there, Angelica had been there for 13 years, and not a lot of women our age involved. Of course, Katerina amazingly has been the super vice president and holding down the fort. And I'm so grateful to be working with Katerina. I can't express that enough. But I know she also has felt, a longing to see more younger women come in, and attempts have been made. And so I really made a deal with heaven that if I was going to step into this role, that one of my main focuses would be to bring in younger women. And True Mother, specifically asked for a second generation president for Women's Federation to be brought up. And you have to kind of wonder why that is. True Mother doesn't kind of arbitrarily make these decisions. The reason that I can come to is that she recognizes there is a difference between our elder women and the next generation of women. And I say next generation because we have both young first generation and second generation here. And it's inclusive. We're also not the young people anymore. I don't feel young. I got my gray hair growing in. I got 3 kids. I'm a grown up. Although we will always be seen as young leaders, right? But that's why I've been using this term next generation. But in truth, we're actually the generation. So I got to figure out better terminology as we come in. But point is inclusive here, that it's younger women under the age of 45 or 50. So, Mother can sense that there's a limitation in the internal situation of our elders and our youngers. And we need both. I think that's really important. Our elders have an experience that we don't, and a consistency that we don't. But there is a certain spirit that I think only we can bring. And there's something about the sisterhood that we bring when we come together. So this is all big picture. But here's the hard thing about the situation that we're in right now, is that we're all older. We're all, mature in our faith. And if you're here, you've made a certain commitment in your life. But at the same time, I don't think I'm the only one who has hesitancies about really, going out there and talking about who true parents are, right? We have concepts about it. We have fears about it. And all of that is real. And I don't know if anybody noticed, but I'm wearing a sweater tonight that was given from True Mother with the intention, the main instruction of this sweater, does anybody know what it was? Is to wear this sweater when you go witnessing. And if anybody saw my reaction when I got it, it was like, okay, thank you. That was my reaction, because I don't take it lightly. I know that that's a serious request from mother, and you don't just say thank you and keep it in your closet, but you really pray over it and you make a plan of how to deliver on it. So I've been in this place where I'm struggling with that. I'm struggling with, like, what does witnessing look like and how do I feel about it? And kind of questioning, like, what's most important. Now, when I get in that place, where I always come back to is True Mother. And I know many of you are looking at Mother's words and studying Mother's words, but I want to show a particular clip. Many of Mother's recent speeches have not been kind of like released. They haven't been, the written version of them haven't been released as publicly. But if you're watching the HJ Global News, you get glimpses enough about what she's saying. And I've been studying Mother's words very deeply from like the last 2 or 3 years, really poring over every speech. And what I can say is that every speech she makes, she's becoming increasingly more intense. Like a few years ago, the speeches I read are, really loving and warm, and, I can discover so much of my own personal growth. But her speeches right now are very direct. And so I'm confronted with this reality of, okay, I've made this breakthrough with Mother. I want to stand with Mother. I love who Mother is. I do believe she's the only begotten daughter. And now she's asking something of me, and I'm confronted and conflicted with what she's asking of me. And I have to kind of really dig deep and say, how much am I willing to respond to what Mother is asking of me at this time? So that's my intro here, but I want to show this clip from True Mother so you can hear directly from her.
천일국 하늘 부모님께서 그토록 소원하고 염원하신 천일국. 천일국 시대에는 창조주 하늘 부모님의 본질, 참 부모를 설명하기 위해서 예수님의 본질을 설명한 방법밖에는 없습니다. 아시겠어요? 네. 그것이 천일국의 경전이 됩니다. 세계 만민이, 모든 종교들이 우주의 근본 되시는 창조주 하늘 부모님의 본질, 소원, 꿈을 말하고 이루어드리는 분은 오직 참 부모뿐입니다. 알겠어요? 하늘 부모님. 하늘 부모님의 꿈이 무엇이었는지, 그 꿈을 기다리며 이루어 나온 타락한 6천년의 인류 역사를 놓고 하늘 부모님께서는 얼마나 기다리며 고통스러워하며 안타까워하며 참아 나오신가를. 그러나 오직 사랑으로 인류를 품고자 하시는 부모의 심정 앞에, 하늘 부모님 앞에, 참 부모님 앞에 여러분 모두는 회개하고 다시 거듭나는 자리에서 축복 가정으로서의 본을 보여야 할 것입니다. 그러기 위해서는 전도야. 전도. 알겠지? 네. 국가 복귀를 못한 자리에서 어떻게 하늘 부모님의 조국이라고 할 수 있겠나? 신통일 한국으로 가는 더 이상 기다릴 수 없는 참부모 독생녀가 지상에 있는 동안에 해결이 되어야 할 가장 긴급한 문제 중에 하나인 것을 명심하기 바랍니다. 자, 여러분 모두는 나와 하나다. 그렇지? 나는 매일매일 여러분의 실적을 하늘 부모님 앞에 보고해드리고 싶어. 이러한 자녀들이 이러한 모습으로 이렇게 컸습니다. 이렇게 국가복귀를 했습니다. 하고 자랑하고 싶어. 그런 자랑스러운 대열에 너희들의 젊은 패기가 두려울 것이 있는가 없는가? 지금 시대는 직접 하늘 부모님이 운행하시는 때인데 뭐가 달라도 달라져야 되는 거 아니야? 알겠어? 예, 우리는 하늘 부모님을 마음껏 자랑하고 참 부모를 마음껏 자랑하는 여러분 모두 효자 효녀 충신이 되기를 축원하노라.
During this
So there were a few clips. I was debating which one to show you, and I'm happy to share others if you're interested. But the number one thing Mother is talking about right now is witnessing. It's 100% witnessing. And I've been talking with my husband about that. What does that look like? And why do we have this kind of reaction to witnessing? Well, one of the things I'm really grateful for is working in this Women's Federation realm, in this NGO Providential Org realm, is it gives us an outlet which is outside of the religious context. And so it means when we talk about true parents and we talk about Heavenly Parent, we can talk about things in the non-religious context. We in this realm right now are not responsible for explaining Chunbo and ancestor liberation and those kinds of things. That's not a Women's Federation responsibility. We want everyone to get there eventually, but we have the freedom to really focus in a way that is most relevant to us. And within Women's Federation, it's specifically about the role of women in society, in the family, in the marriage, and in motherhood, and in leadership, however you want to talk about it. And it's something that you can resonate with. But the reason why we can resonate with that, the reason why we can speak about that is because of True Mother. It's because of True Mother. It's because as the only begotten daughter, it's because as this woman representing the restoration of all women, she has opened up this door. And that's not insincere for me to talk about. I think it's not insincere for most of you to talk about if you came tonight. And so I want us to challenge our concepts of what witnessing looks like. And I also suspect that, the reason why Mother asked for a second-gen president is for this purpose, is for this group that's here who can model a new way forward of how to do outreach work. It does not mean you have to sacrifice your family. It does not mean you have to go to a different mission country, but it means that you can find ways to naturally integrate sharing about Heavenly Parent and true parents in your life that makes sense, that is meaningful. There's a section in Mother's memoir here where she's talking about all the missionaries that they sent all over the world. And she quotes Father and she says, if there will always be reasons that we cannot send them, but if we do not send them now, we will never send them. There will never be a moment without difficulties. Let us make a firm decision when things seem the most difficult. And then as she meets those missionaries, so a missionary meets her for the first time and she says, the person who wanted to weep the most was me, but I knew if I did so, the happy occasion would turn into an ocean of tears. Therefore, with the heart of a strong mother, I embraced that young woman instead. And so when I read that, what I feel is that Mother understands the challenge and what she's asking of us, but she's still asking it of us. She's still asking it of us. In the next part of that memoir, she says, the next day I took all the missionaries out and bought them blouses and scarves. I said, this looks good on you, I would say to each of them, adding, you've worked very hard. But together with my sincere consolation, I would ask them to be strong and press harder and say, if you sacrifice a little more on the way of the will, a peaceful world will come about in our time. And so in this story, she's describing how difficult the course of missionaries has been. And even though it's painful for her, she's still asking for them to do more and to give more. And that's because she's the true mother, right? She's responsible for the bigger picture here. And she's asking the same thing of us. You know, when I received this sweater, it was a very actually painful experience for me, if I'm being super honest. When we were sitting there in the inauguration, we were singing "O Light of Grace," which is always a deep song, but I heard really clearly God's voice very clearly saying, yes, I know you're giving your life, but I need you to give more. I need you to sacrifice more. And I was so upset with that message. I was angry about that message. And, you know, I think about like my family, and I think about my children, and I think about the sacrificial life I'm already leading right now. And I feel like, is it possible to give more? Is it possible? And so I basically was crying the whole program because I was digesting that message from God. And so to receive a sweater with the framing of now you must go out and witness, it was like a very clear message for me to respond to that. But the thing I feel about that experience and I feel about this sweater is it's not just for me, it's for this whole group here, that we at this time are being asked to do more and to sacrifice more and to grow up more. We're at a point in our lives and in our faith where we kind of have to make a decision, not kind of, but we have to make a decision about how much we're willing to stand with our true mother at this time. And if anybody can stand with true mother, it's the women. It's the daughters. We should be the ones who are standing most closely with true mother right now. But are we, you guys? Can I ask that kind of straightforward? Are we doing what mother is asking us to do? I know I am frustrated by all the men leadership. I'm frustrated that there's a lot of suits in meetings. I'm frustrated that I don't get invited to all the conversations, but you guys, I can't be frustrated if I'm not showing up and bringing the result. And it's scary and it's frustrating. But if we want to make a breakthrough for women, if we want to make a breakthrough for true mother, we have to do more. We have to step up more. We have to challenge ourselves more. We can't be complaining about there's not enough women in the meetings and women representation because we're not doing the work. I'm sorry to say that. I'm not doing the work. So I feel like we are at a crossroads, this generation, this age that we're in. Many of you are having children or preparing to have children. Are we at the same point in our faith that our parents were at this age? I don't think so. I don't think so. And how unfair is that? If we really believe in true parents, then we have to push ourselves to respond to what our true mother is asking us in this moment. And she's asking us to go out there. She's worried about witnessing and she's worried about national restoration. And she's saying very clearly that this has to happen while I'm still alive. You know, the last part of the speech that she was talking that I showed there, she says that while the only begotten daughter is alive, and she said, because this is the time where God can work most directly. When mother goes to spirit world, it will be more difficult. Just like when Jesus went to spirit world, it was more difficult. The many, many miracles could occur while Jesus was alive, and mother only has a few more years left. So, you know, I'm sorry for being kind of intense here, But when I pray and I think about what's on Mother's heart, it's so intense. And yes, it's surrounded by love too. You know, at the end of that speech, she's being really firm and like telling everybody witnessing is what you have to do. And these are only excerpts. And then she says, I want to be proud of you. I want to brag about you to Heavenly Parent. I want to show a Heavenly Parent how much you grew up and how much you've taken responsibility. And can I do that? Can I grow in my faith? Can I be mature? That's a question for me, and I have my own commitment and plans that hopefully can bear fruit and share with you in a few weeks. Okay, so put all that intensity aside. Actually, I didn't mean to go that intense, so I apologize. I hope people are not like totally freaked out by what I just said. More than that, what I'm looking for is a sisterhood of women who are willing to figure this out together. If anybody can do this, if anybody can figure out the more healthy way of sharing about Heavenly Parent and shifting our culture and being involved in our communities, I really believe that it's women. But we're kind of at a place where we have to not just be talking about it, we have to actually do it and be involved in it. And the only way we're going to do it is if we've broken through internally with Mother and made the prayerful efforts. Have any of you had the opportunity to visit your local Chuncheon or visited one of the Chuncheons? I don't know how everybody feels about it because it's pretty traditional, a Chuncheon. It's, you know, it's modeled after the prayer hall in Korea. And so I've really thought about why this is, why Mother is pushing Chuncheons, why she's talking about a revival and a being reborn through spirit and through truth. And actually, like when you go back and read Mother's anthology right after Father passed, she's been saying the same thing for over 10 years. And it's like, we're just now waking up to it. And I'm so repentful. I'm so repentful that like, I didn't get it back then. And it's only now that I'm getting it. So what she's asking for, centered on Chuncheon and centered on prayer, is that we have to have a revival of our own spirit. We have to have our own breakthrough. You have to really feel God is alive. You have to feel heaven is working. You have to feel True Mother is our only begotten daughter. If you don't feel those things, if you can't like speak to that genuinely, then of course witnessing doesn't make sense. It's just like going through the motions and meeting random people and giving out random holy wine, you know, however people do it. That's not what Mother's asking of us anymore. She's asking for substantial work here. Something that comes from your own spirit, your own personal experience, your own breakthrough. She's asking for us to have, you know, church buildings that lights are on all day because we're having so many spiritual experiences, so many powerful prayers, so many testimonies that need to be shared. But we won't have those experiences if we don't put the work in. And that work is both internal, breaking through there first so that we can share it externally in a way that's natural and meaningful and, you know, to the point where you can really believe in True Mother and not have the fear. She asks all the young people here there, she says, do you have anything to fear? And like good, you know, trained Korean young people, they said, 없어요. They don't have that. No fear. I'm not there yet. That's okay. But the point is, I don't know, you guys, when I think about like the way this new wave of Women's Federation, the first part of it is our breakthrough. I want to be able to tell True Mother about this meeting and say these women showed up because they're connected to you, because they love you. They're not 100% sure yet, but they want to show up for you. And then I want to be able to say, Mother, based on that experience, based on like that internal foundation, now these women are going out because they want to stand with you, Mother. They don't know what they're doing and they may not, you know, have great results, but they're going out because you're asking them to, Mother. I want to be able to say that. I want to comfort Mother and say, don't worry. You know, even if you go to Spirit World, True Mother, don't worry, because the next generation of women are here and they're standing with you and they're going to stand with you even after you go to Spirit World. And so that's my question to this group. Can we get to that place where you don't know what it looks like? I'm not asking you to like go witnessing every day. I'm not doing that yet. But I am asking you to walk the journey of making an internal breakthrough so that you're willing to take the next step. Right now, we have existing chairwomen and women's fed leaders all over the nation. Many of them are older. Many of them are in a place where they're looking to support a younger person to step up. I'm not asking anybody to take on any kind of strong leadership title or role. None of that matters to me. But what does matter is, are you willing to try to figure this out with me, with our team? Are you willing to brainstorm? Are you willing to try things? Are you willing to have that first conversation with a friend about who Heavenly Parent is? Are you willing to go on this journey together? That's all I'm asking. And if you are, I want to bring your fruit, your testimony directly to True Mother, because I know this is what she wants to hear. She wants to hear about the next generation of women who are responding to her. Now, I know some of you live far away from communities, and some of you are the only person in your community. Don't worry about all the details. Don't worry about, your concepts of what other Women's Federation events have looked like in your community. None of that matters. None of that matters. You are a woman. You are a representative of True Mother. So whatever you're doing is Women's Federation activity. And we want to bring a fresh spirit. I really want to see moms groups happening that include Mother's words. I really want to see young women coming together talking about, Mother's life and how that impacts who they are, what it means to be a true woman. I want to see those things happening, because we have to do it now, before people get older. We have to do it now, where change and passion can be developed and be resultant in their families and in their communities. So, it's funny, I have like 5 things open here with different things to read and testimonies to share and videos to show. And I didn't get through most of it. But when I was praying before this, I took a long walk and I prayed, and I really battled it out with God, and I made it really clear that this is not about me. This is about you, Heavenly Parent, and this is about True Mother. And it's me delivering on a promise that I made. And I know many of you have heard some of the dreams I've had with True Mother. And I think about how my dreams with True Mother have escalated over time. In the beginning, it was me not wanting to do it, and True Mother like coaxing me to go do what she asked me to do very gently, and encouraging me, and remember, you know how to do these things, you're wonderful. And now my dreams are more like Kayleigh, speak in front of hundreds of Korean men and tell them what they should do, right? It's like very different spirit. And I feel like we need to all go through this journey of being loved and supported and encouraged, which is Mother's heart towards all of us, but getting to the point where we can grow up and take responsibility, and Mother doesn't have to worry about us anymore. She doesn't even have to ask us anymore, but we do it because we know her heart and we want to, fulfill our responsibility. So let me just take a minute and think about all the notes that I wrote that I didn't speak to or read, and make sure that there's nothing that I missed. Yeah. So I think the most important thing to kind of ruminate on for all of us is our relationship with True Mother, how we feel about her, and what you feel. I asked a question in the little breakouts of what you feel like is on Mother's mind. And if you can tap into that, then the question is, can you respond to what's on Mother's mind? Can you take responsibility for what's on her heart? Can you comfort her? Can you ease her burden? Can you make space in your own growth for that kind of space? And if you can, then that's all I'm asking for in being a part of Women's Federation. I don't know what it looks like. It can look very different. Maybe all you can do is support in social media. That's fine. I'm looking for some people to help record some videos and speak and things like that. Or maybe you're someone who wants to talk with one friend. That's fine. Maybe you're someone who wants to study Mother's words, even just with other sisters in our movement, and use that as a starting point. That's fine. Maybe you're someone who's ready to go out there and start talking about who Heavenly Parent is and you want to teach more. We're in the process of developing some really great content that will help you to do that as resources, so you can kind of funnel people through the correct educational next steps. The point is, there's not a limitation in how you can contribute. But what I want to do, you guys, and I'm asking of you, is I want to be able to bring to True Mother a group of young women who are showing up for her. And I want that to be the testimony. I want to be able to say, Mother, these women love you. We don't know what we're going to do yet, but they want to do something for you. Because in the end, I'm doing this because I want to comfort Mother and I want to respond to Mother. And I know many of you want to do the same. So that was a lot, many different points, kind of all over the place. But I'm questioning whether or not I want to like open it up if people have questions or comments or general response. Or just leave it at that. Yeah, okay, let's open it up if there are questions or comments. And I am hoping some of you can be a little more brave to open up the space, especially those who I think I've talked to a little bit more in depth, to give maybe your own reflection or your own sense or what you're feeling challenged by or what you're feeling motivated by. Something, yeah, from your heart to share with this group. Can a few people be brave and unmute themselves? That's okay, take a minute.
Hey, Kayla, it's Miwa.
Miwa, you were the first one in the waiting room and you made me cry. You
Oh,
made me cry.
I don't know what to say. I just want to say thank you for doing this. I just have a comment. So I appreciate that you opened up so many different things. Like, I'm one of those people who live in like nowhere and I don't really have anybody to like really connect to. And like, I have, like big gaps in my kids, and I just had a baby and it's all crazy and busy. So I appreciate that you did open up so many different avenues that, you don't have to just go witnessing, because that really scares me. So I appreciate it. I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you, Miwa. Other brave people?
Hey, Kaylee. This is Yenji. I'm with you on the like, what is the witnessing part. I'm really struggling with that, because I guess I kind of like what Damien was saying, is like, maybe we have to really like get rid of old ideas. So when I think of witnessing, I'm thinking like our first gen parents, like maybe witnessing, maybe when Mother's asking us about witnessing, it could look very different. We could try to come up with new ways of doing it. Maybe even just, I don't know, my big thing is just like, can we be models? Like, can we like show by example instead of talking about it? Some of us maybe are not really good at speaking, but we can try to lead by example. That maybe that we could focus on that. A lot of our families still struggle, and we talk about ideal families, but a lot of our blessed families are far from ideal.
Thank you,
Can you hear
Angie. Your sound cuts in and out, so I wasn't sure when you were finished. Sorry, but yeah, totally. I think there were a lot of head nods with what you were saying, And I think that's the question for all of us. What does it, if mother's asking us to witness, it's not what our parents did. It's got to be different. And I think absolutely this point about being models in our family, I really believe that anything we do in Women's Federation should be supporting your personal life. It should be enriching your marriage, or it should be enriching your parenthood. It should be enriching your identity as a woman. It shouldn't be sacrificing those things. It should be enriching them. So I think there's a way to do it where it's modeling and supporting that personal area of your life as well.
Mhm. Hi, can anyone hear me?
Hi, Sarah.
Hi. Let me. I just want to. Can you hear me now? Oh goodness. Can you hear me
Yes,
now?
yes.
Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah. Thank you everyone for yeah, sharing, and yeah, just regarding that, gaining that spiritual breakthrough. I guess, for me, more than just, well, connecting with true mother or with true father, for me, it's like really connecting with God's heart behind it, right? That's what true parents are channeling, right? They're really channeling God's desperate heart, really wanting to hold his children, but still so much going on, right? And even with us who are aware of his heart, but still many times still so distant from God, right? So yeah, I'm in Brazil right now, and it's been such an amazing, refreshing experience. I guess, when you're a mom and just busy, and I was away from Brazil for a while. Brazil does have this really great, like, vertical spirit, very strong, like just refreshingly religious spirit. I know a lot of, well, I guess if you live in America for a long time, anytime you might just not really feel that. It depends on also what kind of, yeah, faith profile you got. But we've been doing, at least here in the Brazil community, they do like this prayer vigil every week. Pretty amazing. Like, I attended last week. My brother's like, let's go, and we went. And you just pray loudly, for like an hour or something, and you do like singing in between. And I know it's like really not part of, what a lot of people are used to doing. I wasn't used to doing that for like a long time, but there's something really refreshing about it. And I know not everybody has a Chongqing one in their local community, but if you do have one, what I would like to do, and the first thing I want to do when I get back home, is to actually, I know first gen brothers and sisters gather every morning at our Chongqing one, and they do reading and also prayer. And I know it's hard. We have all our schedules, and a lot of us have kids, but I would really like to kind of keep on bringing that spirit back home. There is something very different about just praying quietly and actually just being like very kind of loud and intentional, like longing. Reverend Young spoke a lot about longing for God's heart. And that's something that I was like, wow, that was missing for like a long time, after I was just so busy with kids and I was doing like routine hunde okay, or just not, just kind of praying, like kind of half distracted, but actually getting very intentional about it. There's something that really could be eye-opening towards our relationship with God, and this sense of urgency, like Kaylee won't have to, like, kind of beg us, sorry, not begging, but like implore, like, come on guys, can you like understand mother's heart? And like there's no necessity for that. If you can really feel that longing heart towards God, that's what true parents have, and if we could also just inherit that. So just having that kind of culture, if you have in your local community, um, I would really suggest that. And I'm trying to, yeah, kind of bring that up slowly to our community of young parents in Vegas. Hey, and anybody's interested, let's try, like, like even like us parents, we can just, even if we can't come every week, let's just try something like a kind of really intentional, yeah, prayer vigil, prayer gathering is something. So that's just one thing I wanted to share. Another thing about, yeah, because Youngji was sharing how it is difficult to actually be talking about a lot of the things that we, yeah, we talk about in church. But yeah, I remember Kaylee, you were sharing that there is like, well, there's a lot of curriculum actually that's already out there that was developed by Katerina. Um, Leadership of Heart. There's like 3 kinds of curriculum. So that's something, at least in Vegas, that we're planning to study more in depth, and yeah, just see how we can, yeah, a lot of it is already like divine principle that's already adapted to, yeah, in a quite neutral but still, yeah, very clarifying, very inspiring structure. So I would like to really study some more of that. And I remember, Kaylee, you mentioned there's like a 2.0 version of those curriculums coming or something like that. I'm not sure if I got that wrong, but yeah, at one point, maybe could share a little bit more with that. What kind of content you're also looking to developing further so that we can channel more people like directly to to towards more like getting to know a little bit more about advanced principle, more of that spiritual component. So yeah, there is stuff out there. Just I guess it'd be nice if you could even, let know people who don't know about it, like where you can find those the three leadership of heart and the two other curriculums. And yeah, that's great. If you have a local women's fed in your area, could just try to connect, or even, just let us know and we can also send you our whatever we're doing, our updates, and you can also be part of it, just even be part of our chat group if you're interested. So that's just what I wanted to share.
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, if everyone doesn't know, Sarah is already part of the Las Vegas Women's Federation team. That's why she knows everything. And I purposely didn't go into practical detail in this session because at the end of the session, I want to invite those who want to check out more practically to a specific chapter refresh we're having. We'll talk about kind of the details, the resources that are out there and what it can look like. This particular call, I more want to just sense if you're willing to go there with us and figure it out with us. But Sarah is a great example of working already and volunteering already and catching the spirit already. So thank you very much, Sarah. Yeah. Oh, I think.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, Kathy, go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm on my phone, so I don't know who's speaking next or not. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Kaylee, for that really awesome talk in your heart. Yeah, a lot of things came up for me because before even joining this call, and I was talking to my husband about being invited to be Hanmi's Trinity. That's what I thought it was gonna be only in the beginning. Oh, just a little Trinity for WFWP. I can do what I can here and there. And my husband's like, just make sure that you're ready to, if it's a commitment, you got to think about everything else that you're already doing. And they're like, I know. But honestly, deep in my heart, I know witnessing has always been the key to growing our providence. And I look in our church, in South Florida church, and literally like 5 people show up every Sunday. And we're expecting to be victorious. Like I'm unfortunately been ashamed to bring guests into our church because we're just not prepared. Well, we're not ready, but at the same time, honestly, we're also not ready to step up ourselves. So it's frustrating and it's lacking, but also the reality of it is I'm also scared. Like I don't know how to do that. No one likes rejection. No one likes to be looked like we're weird or we're crazy. So a lot of these things are just very real, things that we can overcome. We're always making excuses. I mean, they're important excuses, our kids and our family, they're important. And I guess the big thing that I had been struggling with for the past few years is, my husband and I, we really wanted to take what True Mother had said earlier, where we now have to practice being excellent and using that as a tool. Like, be excellent in your careers, be excellent in your families, and you can use that to naturally witness. And we love that natural witness because sometimes it sounds very comfortable because we don't have to bring up divine principle, divine moon, and all these things. But the reality is we do. Like, you can't just be a good family. There's lots of good families. There's a ton of good Christian families that are probably even better than a lot of our blessed families. But we have to take a step further and talk about true parents, and that's the scary part. And that's where I feel like I would fall short. And then the other part is just what kind of time is it going to take? And a lot of people here are still, like you said, are in our childbearing years. I'm a stay-at-home mom now, and a lot of it is I'm still supporting my husband so he can do what he needs to do. So that's the other part of juggling. And I know it's possible, you know, Kayla, you're doing it. I know a lot of other people are doing it. It's just maybe just the support from other moms and having that idea of what can we do? Because every day I talk to a lot of wonderful friends, and I'm like, I wish I could talk to them about this. There's nothing stopping me, but at the same time, I feel like maybe support and how to start doing these things naturally might help. Anyways, I'm just now rambling, but those are just a few things that have come up for me here. So thank you.
No, that was an awesome reflection. Thank you, Kathy. I think a lot of us feel the same, but you're also challenging us to really think bigger. And to your point about like, yeah, the craziness of all of your lives, I fully get it, right? And I do believe there's got to be a way to do it that makes sense, that is not sacrificing your family, is not sacrificing your life, but there's got to be a way. And if I believe in the only begotten daughter, I believe in heaven and spirit world, then I have to believe that doors are going to be open. And if I can just share one more thing that I think is maybe an important nugget to hold on to, is my concept of witnessing has changed through my spiritual daughter, who honestly, I'm a crappy spiritual parent. And I don't, I'm not like what Dr. Young says. I'm not that version of a spiritual parent, but I consider her my spiritual sister. And I share with her about Mother, and she has had these incredible breakthroughs with True Mother. She went to Korea with YCLC. And what I found is all I've done is opened a door for her to True Mother. And it's going to take her a long time to get to the end point, right? But if that's all I can do for people is like open the door, or at least tell them and have them kind of work it out in their own time and let heaven work on that foundation, then I can do that, right? If all I need to do is just introduce or say something to people, then I've done at least the bare minimum. So yeah, I feel like there's other ways to think about witnessing where we're not like sacrificing everything, but what are the baby steps we can take that can let heaven show us that heaven is alive and God is alive and True Mother is really leading us at this time. So Tasma, I know you were going to unmute and share something.
Yeah. Thank you for this call. I think I really hesitated to join because it's a step. It was very dividing, I think. A lot of things that have been at the back burner in my life and in my heart that sort of didn't want to go there. I think, yeah, especially your point about, needing first your own breakthrough and to like be at that crossroads of growing up and taking ownership and not being kids anymore. I look at all the faces, most of you, have shared many parts of like growing up together, especially in these last 10, 15 years of, Mother's leadership. And I think there's been this like hesitation to ask what my mother needs of me. Because if you ask, you're told, then you have to take responsibility. And yeah, and I think it's confronting a lot of fears that just like being inside the safety of our community, like you didn't really have to confront. And but I also know that like when I've been in that place where I've been the most like vulnerable and open and like surrendered to facing like my limitations and my concepts and my fears, that I've witnessed God work in the most like incredible ways in my life. And I remember like years ago, there was one speech from Mother talking about like, well, you have nothing to be afraid of. Like, I'm right here. Every step you take, I will be right there with you, And so I think, yeah, like I wouldn't be here without Mother, like literally I would not be here. And so I think my wrestling has to be like, why is it so hard for me to take the step to be there for her, you know, without any hesitation, without any like without any question, right? Like that last line, like, you want to be proud of your parents. And I'm like, why is it so difficult, you know, in the face of outside of just my brothers and sisters? Why is it difficult to feel so proud? And why is it difficult to why do I have this hesitation? And so, yeah, even for this call, I was downstairs and I'm in North Garden, parents' home in Kodiak. And I was like, okay, I'll go sit in their living room, even just for this like simple. Yeah. So anyway, I'm grateful for this call and for your courage to spearhead this and to respond to mother's calling. And I think, yeah, the question, what is mother thinking of? I mean, the first thing that came to mind is she must be thinking of us. Otherwise, we wouldn't be on this call, you know? And so if my mother is thinking of me, and like, that means she believes in us and she knows that we can do it. And yeah, and I think it's nice to feel like we're growing in this together and that we don't have to have all the answers, and that like I'm not alone in the desire and the longing, but also the fear and the hesitation and the worry. And yeah, there's also like, you know, that whole terror line thing. There's this feeling of like, how many times have I crossed a terror line and looked back and been like, what I had nothing to be afraid of, you know? And so I don't really want to say it, but part of me is also sort of like excited for what can happen if I no longer am afraid. Like I live on an island with 6,000 people, and it's like, that's like the size of our church in some communities, you know? It's like, how cool would it be if like I felt just as free to be me and to share my faith and who I am with this island of people that Father and Mother love so much, than I was to share with 6,000 of my peers, you know? So yeah, thanks for this. And it's really good to see all of you on this call, just really comforting. And yeah, I still don't want to have that prayer, but maybe it's a step closer to getting there.
Wow. So beautiful. Thank you, Tasma. And your last point, I really feel is true, is like, again, I don't know what I'm doing either, but like looking at all these faces on this call, I feel like we can figure it out and we're not alone. And you know, even if you are the only one in your community, but you still have a sisterhood that's supporting you in it, is just a totally different experience. So beautiful. Thank you, Tasna. Would anybody else like to share?
Yeah.
Hannah just had a baby too. Hi.
Yeah, my baby's head's right here.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why I'm in my PJs. But yeah, Kaylee, I just feel like so much is happening in the Providence. Like it's just like, I think Spirit World is really like alive, and you bringing this call at this time is all a part of that. And I can feel it and I can sense it and I can be excited about it. But then like everyone is kind of echoing, or I'm echoing what everyone is saying, is the sense of like, yeah, but I don't want to do this and it's too scary. And so, and I was reading watching one of Mother's recent speeches, kind of similar tone earlier this week. You know, like you said, like in the past, it's like, oh, you feel encouraged and that Mother loves me so much. And that's all I needed. I got my fix. Now I can move on with my day. But this last speech, it was like, oh my God, I'm so scared and stressed. You know, like I can't, and then my question was like, why am I so scared? You know, Mother's been telling us that, why are you afraid? I'm right here. And so I think like that's the power of the Chunshim one, and why Mother is like, you know, propelling us to just go, because I need, like, I feel like I want, like, everything we're talking about, like, yes, I want to do that, but like I can't do it alone, and I feel so stuck. Like, it's one thing to say it and another thing to like carry it out, and that's something that I need to kind of like battle out in the prayer hall, you know, like, and I know that it's possible. I know that there's deep, like, substantial essence of God in these prayer halls. I mean, I have never stepped in one, and if I have, I don't even know that I did. But I can believe that these, and the miracle that Mother is allowing us to just do a DIY like Chunshim one, I'd like, what? Because like, you know, we talk about these, you know, in like Celtic tradition, they're referred to as thin spaces where spirit world and the physical world are very, very close. And they're usually like, you know, like certain parts on the geographically in the world, you know, it's not like we can just create one. And so this is a different era. I mean, 100%, the last couple of weeks, it's like we've entered a different era. I don't know if anyone else is picking up on that, but that's how I feel. And I need to respond to Mother. I have no clue how. So like I was sharing earlier, like my prayer has been like, hey God, like I get it. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I'm here. Like I'm gonna show up. So anyway, that's kind of what I want. But at the same time, the last thing I want to say is people are so ready. You know, people are so ready. Like a lot of my mommy groups and like with my patients at work, like so many people that are craving for what Mother has to offer. And I'm able to like slide it into a conversation, sometimes talk about True Mother, sometimes share her autobiography or her memoir. But like it falls flat. Like, okay, like we had a really deep conversation. Cool. You know, like I get too stuck and nervous and I don't know what to do next, you know, and it's so silly. My whole pregnancy, I was sitting there like scrolling through YouTube, which is like also against like my values. I don't scroll on social media or whatever, but like here I am just like going through and like watching all these random videos and beating myself up over it. And then I realized like I'm watching all these videos of like parents like showing their lives of their kids and their families, and it's so like it fills you up. and I'm realizing like these are really special people that are like using this platform because they're passionate about creating something good, and they don't know what they're doing, but you know, videos and that sort of thing is trendy now, and somehow people can resonate. And I realized like, oh my God, these people have like millions of followers. and people are connecting to these people because they're creating something good. And I'm like, we have so much more to offer than that. You know, and like totally not my wheelhouse to create YouTube videos, but just feeling like, I don't know, specifically this generation of like young parents, even younger than us, like in their early 20s, and they're having kids and they're posting. There's something special about these people, and they're just, I don't know, they're just people. So just to know like God is telling me these people are so ready. When are you going to be ready? Yeah, Mother is really serious. That video that you shared, Kaylee, I felt like her eyes were like, hello, is anybody hear me? Because of course they're all saying yes, and they're scribbling notes and they're not even looking at it, you know, like, and I think she's just like piercing through. I mean, of course she's looking beyond just the people in that crowd, but I felt like she's looking at me like, do you see me? Hello? I don't know. It's so hard to respond to that. But anyway, thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much, Hannah. Yeah, I always admire Hannah is very intuitive with Mother when she, you know, reads her words. And your point about her stare, right? It's intense, and it's really true. Like if you go back and look at Mother's previous videos, it's becoming more and more intense. And so if I'm someone who like is wanting to support mother, I have to pay attention and ask myself why, and realize like actually I haven't been responding to what she's been saying. And why is that? And then I'm confronted, just like we all are. But yeah, yes, to your points about social media, I feel like there's so many ways we could do this. And again, you know, this is Women's Federation. So don't worry too much about like bringing people to church. That's not the goal of what we're doing here. That's the end goal for the Providence. But we can create what we're comfortable and proud of, while Family Federation figures out its stuff, you know, and then we can pass it on. But yeah, there's a lot of freedom here and creativity for how we want to do this. Thank you, Hannah. I know this is going way later, so no worries if people have to go, but I also want to keep the space open if people want to just continue to reflect and share and respond or talk about what they're struggling with. All is welcome.
Hey, Kaylee.
Yes, Aiko, I was waiting for you. I could
I got a lot to say, you know, my Italian's coming out, but I just wanted to really thank you for this. And past few weeks have been a big wake-up call for me. I've never been in a public position, and I've never considered being in a public position, really. I was always thinking of doing my own thing, but yeah, I just feel that mother, you know, that speech that she was giving us, or you showed us, like, I mean, the only word I could really think of is frustration from her. And, you know, mother's mother, so she's not gonna, you know, she has her way of really just loving us no matter what. But I just feel, and I have also witnessed that, you know, mother is looking for new ways, just new ways. Absolutely. Like, I was at church yesterday, and I'm a cynical. I could be very negative and very judgmental at the same time. And I think you know, I could use it to my advantage, because like, you know, from that point of view, it's like, okay, I need to make a change, right? But being at church, it's like, there's something missing. Like, we keep talking about it. We keep talking about witnessing, and it just has not been working. So we just have to figure out a way. And I think we're all pioneers. I mean, women in general, we've never had an example of a woman until True Mother. And it's very recent that we finally discovered who True Mother is to us. And I think we have to heal our femininity and also regain it. And I think it's a huge process of healing. And I really believe, and I've experienced, that mother is my source of healing. And I think when people understand that, or see that, or witness that within us, they will want it. Everyone's hurting. Everyone wants healing. Everyone wants happiness. Everyone wants to be a better wife, a better daughter, better mother. So yeah, I mean, I think this group of women can do that, but I think we do have to put our heads in together, have honest conversations, look deep in the darkness sometimes, and shed the light. And you know, at the end of the day, share a testimony. At the end of the day, I think that's what moves people, right? Is our stories. So yeah, I'm nervous. I'm like, when I hear witnessing, I know in my mind, I'm like, this is not the witnessing we've been seeing. Mother wants something different. I absolutely believe in that. There's no way the way we've been doing is working, because it's not, no offense. You know, a lot of people have worked hard, but like, we can't keep doing the same thing over and over. We got to find new ways. So yeah, thanks for bringing this group together, Kaylee.
Oh, awesome, Aiko. No cynicism in you. I'm surprised. I'm like so moved. Wow, thank you. Beautiful. Yeah, Yunji, did you raise your hand?
Yeah, I did. I'm just gonna turn off my screen because I think it won't cut out as much.
Yeah.
Kind of piggybacking off of well, I just what came to mind maybe that's kind of maybe we have to start with some, still like we're all kind of like where do we even start, where we begin? But the thing that's just come to mind is like, well, my pastor likes to say that so like while it might feel like a happening around the world from a providential point of view, and what was that, like that documentary that came out was What is a Woman, and looking at all the kind of like social issues going on and the big attack that seems to be happening on women of what is a woman, what is womanhood, what is motherhood. And I'm not a fan of modern feminism, and I've been watching some talks and podcasts on the topics of motherhood and career, being the working mom or the stay-at-home mom and such. But it just kind of like makes, I think, like like up until before True Mother, the world has never seen what a true woman is. I mean, we've seen a true man through Jesus and True Father, but up until True Mother, and even during but when True Father was alive, True Mother was kind of just in the background. And growing up, nobody really talked about her that much. It was always about True Father. So I think maybe that's kind of a starting point for us, kind of, because even I'm still kind of like on that stuff, like what does it mean currently a stay-at-home mom, and it kind of involuntarily because there was a lot of preconceptions about stay-at-home motherhood and what it means, like it kind of didn't seem as prestigious as being like the career mom. And yeah, so just I think that maybe that's something we could kind of delve or ask ourselves, like, what does true woman or true womanhood and true motherhood looks like had Adam and Eve not fallen, what would have it looked like? Even from the perspective of like education and career and balancing having children and like and how we would interact with people, or relationship with men. I have a son, and I'm weeks away of giving birth to another son, and it really changed my perspective about men in this world. Yeah, so maybe that's just like something that we could think about. It's like, what would have it looked like? What will womanhood look like in Chenoguk? What would it look like in the ideal world? So I don't think in the world we see right now, it's not really helping women. I feel a lot of women are hurting because of it's like we have to compete with men almost, like we have to be like men, we want to see more women CEOs, want to see more women engineers, we want to meet quotas, like it be equal. Is that really helping us? Like, yeah, so maybe that's yeah, I just like, what is a woman?
Yeah, right on. I think that's the longing of a lot of women, and why we have something to offer through True Mother. Thank you. Emily, I know you raised your hand.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I'm driving and my headphones are like, charge me, so I hope it lasts. Should I talk louder? It's good.
No, it's okay.
Okay. Well, okay, first of all, thank you so much, Kaylee, for sharing. I was like, I hope it's okay to say this. I was like, damn, Kaylee, okay, call me out. Like, I don't know, I'm so grateful. I don't know that well, thank you for sharing like your reaction to receiving that sweater, the cardigan, your mother, and just your resistance to it. I think many people can resonate with that. And I texted you like yesterday, and I was like, thank you, Kaylee, for your example of surrender, because it's like very inspiring and encouraging. And I didn't know that you went through that. But I could just tell, like, even you taking women's fed this role, you're really surrendering in many ways to what you want versus what you feel like God wants for you. And thank you also for honoring the fact that every woman who's on this call, we've all been through our own journey. And, God has guided us to a point to, like, be able to be here and to talk about True Mother, right? Because we have some kind of foundation with True Mother that we're here. like my understanding. And yeah, as you were saying that, I really felt like, wow, God has been giving me so much motherly love actually these past few years of my life, because I have not been going to church. Like, I've not been really active in anything. I never left like true parents in my heart, but kind of like the heart of a mother, God's just like a mother's just patient and wait, you know, for people to get it. And kind of like your story, you didn't connect to true mother before, and now you do. You felt like an opening, and just God was just waiting, you know, for you. And I feel like that too. And anyways, I don't know why I'm sharing all this, but I think me being here is very personal. Like, I hope it's okay to say, I hope the women said God don't look down on me, but women's fed I don't know about women's fed, but I'm here for everything that you're talking about, and standing for true mother and wanting to share a report with her. Just, you know, this is what the women who are by your side, and your letter was very moving to me, Kaylee, too. Like, you feel very supported by the people who are willing to show up, and I can just imagine. Anyways, that's the essence of what I want to say. It's just, it's very personal for me. Like, I want to connect with true mother. I want to support true mother. I don't know how I feel about witnessing. I have no idea. I'm not even thinking that far, actually. I'm just thinking, okay, how can I activate like who true mother is in my own life personally? Because I think that's going to be the biggest how-to for me on as to like, how am I going to witness? Right. Once I'm excited about something, I share it with people all the time, you know. So if I get excited about who true mother is in my own life, I'm going to share with people. And I think recently I've been focusing more on the embrace of true mother. Like, I'll wake up in the morning and imagine true mother and true father like holding each of my shoulders, you know, and just like patting me on the back and being like, we're here, we got you, you know. And anyways, just want to say thank you for this call. I'm excited.
Beautiful. Thank you, Emily. And yes, fully echoing, we don't have to worry too much about witnessing. Most important part is this like internal breakthrough. And if it's natural, Emily was telling me that she's a big fan of El Pastor at Chipotle, which is the new meat there, and she's witnessing to everybody about El Pastor. So I think she's being prepared to be a great witnesser, but you gotta have the really good meat that you love, that you want to tell everybody about.
And
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
can I say something?
Yes, Vice President Katerina. I was gonna.
I know it's late. I'm so sorry.
No, and there are a few others who want to share, so it's all good.
Okay, so, oh man, I'm gonna start crying. Yeah, I'm just so grateful for everyone who came. Oh God, it's hitting me harder. Oh gosh. Yeah, actually, when I was first appointed to Women's Federation, True Mother appointed me as vice president, and it was 8 years ago in 2014, end of 2014, and then I started in 2015. The Mari was there. Me, Mari, and Milhan, we went to Las Vegas to meet with Mother, and it's like the smallest gathering I've ever been with your mother. It's like there was 6 people, the 3 of us, and then Dr. Kim, Dr. Malcolm, and Dr. Jenkins. And one of the main things she talked about was witnessing. And, you know, totally like, I'm the person who does not talk to people. I hate talking to strangers. I do not know who my neighbors are. I don't know their names. Like, I don't want them to know me too. I don't talk to people. So like, who am I going to witness to? I don't even know. Like, everyone I talk to, they're already members. So I'm not going to go around finding friends so that I can witness to them. That's just silly. Anyway, so I like put it in the back of my mind, like, oh my God, I'm supposed to witness, but I don't know how and I don't want to. So, you know, I'm this young person in this quote unquote old ladies club. I know many people think that about Women's Federation, even if you're polite about it. This is our little old ladies club. And it just felt like for a while, very alone and like I'm the collector's item or something. And like, oh yay, we have a second gen. But where is that space? And again, I'm like antisocial. So like I can't create that space for me. I call young people, it's like maybe 2 will show up. I don't know. So, but it's really the right time. And I just really appreciate the heart that, you know, we're gonna figure this out together. Like more, I don't know, I feel like more than anybody else, I don't know what I'm gonna do or how I'm gonna do it. When it comes to that word witnessing. Yeah, like what is that? But yeah, just we got to figure it out together. And yeah, if I really, yeah, I'm really challenged also, of course. You know, I've been challenged for 8 years. Wait. But yeah, but I'm just so grateful for everyone for being here and showing up. Thank you.
Thank you, Katerina. God bless you. And it's Katerina's foundation, I really feel that we're standing on, is she really pushed through some difficult times. And without her, I couldn't do this either. So thank you so much, Katerina. Majo, I don't know how to say your name. Can you tell me how to say your name?
Hi, I'm Majo.
Majo, okay, hi.
Hi, nice to meet you, everyone. Thank you for joining. I don't know if they say correct. I'm learning that language. I'm sorry. I'm very happy because I don't understand everyone, every word, but I can feel your heart, the each person here, and really I feel good because I think God is not alone. God has a lot of people. I don't know if I say correct. I'm sorry, I'm really emotional. And I'm trying to control the emotion, but sometimes me supera. I don't know how can I say that. It's more, but I want to share words because in the future I can share more the heart with the correct words. But I think it's good they have this meeting because the first step is thinking about God, thinking about the true parents, and thinking about how can I do best things every day, right? And that is the first step now, the thousand after the actions. And yeah, I thank you. I think all the people here is like one heart when we feel, or when we think about God and I think about the mission of the True Mother. Sometimes I think it's so big, the mission, but step by step, no? Because it's so big. It's like a think about the universe. It's so big. I can into in my mind that, and if I put the mission in the little parts, I think okay, we can do that. And yeah, that is, and I appreciate everything, every person here, and yeah, that is. Thank you for each word and each. I don't know. Bueno, reflection. This. I'm sorry. The next time, I think I improve more that language. Thank you.
Oh, Maho, that was so beautiful. Thank you. Don't worry, we understood every word, and your heart's coming across so big, so strong. Can I ask Maho, because I don't know you, where are you living now?
I'm live in Chicago.
Chicago.
Now I am from Argentina.
Ah, oh, wow.
Yeah.
My husband lived in Argentina for 3 years, so okay, we can talk later, catch up. Thank you, beautiful. I know it's very late, but I can tell nobody minds staying, so it's like so beautiful. Is there anybody else who wants to share their thoughts, their reflection? Yeah, Rosia?
Hello?
Yes.
You can hear me? Okay,
Yeah.
my phone says I'm muted. Okay. Um, yeah, thank you, Kaylee. I guess I'm echoing a lot of what people are saying, but I'm really grateful for this space. And I've really felt that you are a model for me in the relationship that I want to have with Mother. And yeah, the kind of responsibility that I would like to step up and take to follow Mother's, words and yeah, really support her. And so I've been so grateful for you, and a lot of the things that you were saying, I've been feeling in my prayer. I'm so bad. Our local community, we do a Chungshim One prayer every morning. And I feel this battle between, oh gosh, I had no sleep last night. Should I wake up early for this prayer, or should I get anyways? So I've been sort of inconsistent, but even in my inconsistency, I feel God's inspiration, and a lot of them just, anyways, very much exactly what you were saying. We're not at the standard or the level that our parents were at when they were raising us, and there's a gap that needs to be bridged, and I'm the one who needs to bridge it, and I don't know how, but anyway, something's missing there, and I need to grow. Also feeling like this witnessing, I know people are scared. I was born breech. I came out butt first, and sometimes I feel like in my faith, I sort of go butt first, like, okay, this is where we're gonna go. And so I'm a CARP leader here. I don't have spiritual children, but somehow I'm the CARP director, and I go out witnessing, and I've been teaching principle, and sincerely, like, honestly, we are very stuck. Like, even though I'm witnessing, I've been realizing recently that because of through my witnessing, like, I'm teaching people principle, and then they walk away at the end of the book, and I'm like, what the hell is happening? That's not supposed to happen. But it's because I don't understand the essence of true parents. I'm not in myself. I haven't gone that step internally, done the work to really, yeah. Anyways, Damien says understanding the essence of true parents, and you say, like, right, doing the internal work of really becoming true mother's daughter. And so I'm coming out butt first, but I'm sort of realizing, that I need to understand Mother's heart, and I need to put in the work and the prayer, and yeah, the time with Mother's autobiography. I remember I was so moved by you years ago when you talked about your journey reading Mother's autobiography in the mornings. And so I'm really grateful for this condition that Damien started of reading Mother's Mother's memoir every morning. Yeah. And then also I really resonate with this, your message. I was so grateful for your story about receiving the sweater and God's calling you to take more responsibility, because I feel that too, and I feel the same way. Yeah. Anyways, I'm grateful for you taking the steps ahead of us, ahead of many of us. Our parents went before us too, right? But feeling like I don't know how I could possibly take on more, but I'm not doing enough. Yeah. And then I just wanted to share maybe a testimony, just that even coming on this call, I knew I wanted to make it, but my daughter's been going to sleep at like 6:30 for like 3 weeks now. And then suddenly tonight, it's 8:40 and she's still, I'm putting her to sleep, or my husband and I are putting her to sleep. And I was like, oh crap, I'm gonna miss this call. But I feel like I jumped on exactly the minute when you started talking about what I needed to hear. And in trying to do my mission or my work to support Mother, somehow when I'm aligned, my kids are 8 months old and 2 years old. They have no idea, practically speaking, what I'm doing. But when I need the time to do something for Mother, they fall asleep at the right moment, or anyways, things work out, and I've just been seeing God and heaven working. Anyways, even our third gen want to support Mother in some very beautiful way. Thank you.
Wow. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Rosia. And I'm glad your kids went to sleep, because I think we needed to hear from you too. That's the thing that I think is so beautiful about like sisterhood working together here, is that it's not just one person who has to share the truth, right? There's this collective wisdom that comes from sharing with each other and learning with another. And it's so Chanukuk. Talk about like what Chanukuk looks like. It's like this is, I'm learning so much from each of your sharings. It's so beautiful. Thank you. And everybody, you can stop apologizing for crying, because everybody has cried in each of their sharings. So it's now acceptable, and you don't have to worry. Okay, there are a few more. I know, Mari, you raised your hand earlier. Do you want to share something? Maybe you can't. She's also wrestling kids to sleep, I know. Romina, go ahead.
Yeah. Actually, it's so interesting. When you first were saying, should I open this up to sharing or not? And then you said, oh, I'll open it up to sharing. I wanted to share and thank you, for your testimony and everything. But then sisters started sharing one by one, and I just felt like I just didn't want to, I didn't want to say anything, because I'm like, who else is going to share something magical? Who else is going to say something so beautiful? So I'm really moved. I don't think I've been in a call with young mothers and women where there's so much authenticity and vulnerability in their hearts. So I'm really, really grateful to just witness this. My daughter is like sleeping next to me very peacefully. When I left her alone, she cried, but as soon as she's in the presence of all these voices, she's sleeping fine. So I took her back again. I just am very, very moved, by every person's testimony, but by especially the way you are surrendering to God and to Mother and your journey. And I feel safe and secure in your leadership and the way you are, I always felt like mothers should be as strong and as soft somehow. And I felt like today you were as strong with us and as equally as soft. So like you expressed the urgent heart that Mother fails, but at the same time, the love. So I really, anyway, I just want to say that I felt that Mother was really working through you today with her nature of telling us strongly what we need to hear, because, we say the truth will set you free, right? Like we have to hear what we need to hear. Otherwise, nobody really is going to stop in the street and tell us what we need to do to lead lives that are purposeful and meaningful and really aligned with God. Like nobody will do that, right? So you need a true mother's heart and a true parent's heart to really receive that. But I feel like we really have missed this in our movement so much, because Father was, kind of like scolding people and kind of like telling them very strongly what they need to do. But that's what fathers are, right? Visionaries and like defend the country and defend the family and everything. But I think we've all been so much longing for somebody to speak strongly and softly, as much as they seem the opposite, but I think they go together in a mother. So I felt that through you today. So thank you so much, Kayla, for modeling that, because I want to be that kind of mom for my own daughters here at home, where I can tell them what they need to hear, but I can love them as much and more, than that truth that I'm speaking. So thank you, and thank you for all the sisters here. I don't have any strong positive or negative feeling about witnessing. I'm a first generation from Albania. I was witnessed myself at 18. So when I came to America, I was like, I'm like, oh wow, there's no program for guests. Okay, forget about witnessing then. And then they're like, oh, bring guests to Sunday service, and the Sunday service is bombarded with like true fathers said and ancestors, and I'm like, what? I'm never bringing a new person to this. So for the past 7 years in America, I think I've been kind of very lukewarm about witnessing, like never really felt called to do it. Although I do share my testimony of how I am in America and with my husband, and people get really inspired about this matching and blessing and the whole international, interracial family. And but then I don't know how to follow up, like what else I do. So I think it's going to be so good, actually, while we discover Mother, we can slowly put together a system where, somehow there's a way for them to really go to the next step besides just hearing stories of what your parents did or how our family came to be like this. So I'm excited actually for this a lot. If things come from the heart, I think they're more sustainable than just with logic. We need spirit and truth. We need both. So I think, yeah, the spirit is the one that maybe can starting internally. Yeah. Yeah, thank you for letting me share.
Oh, thank you, Romina. And if I can be honest, the reason why I didn't want to open it up to discussion is because I was feeling very self-conscious because I knew I brought an intense energy, which is not what I like to lead with. So I have to overcome my own doubt and fear, right, to do all this. But I appreciate that on a personal level, Romina. I worried I scared everybody off. It wasn't my intention to go there, but anyways, I wore Mother's sweater, so that was the point. She had something to say, not me. Thank you. All right, Mari, I see you unmuted. Go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, so I wanted to first of all thank you for sharing, Kayla, and also for all the sisters for sharing your heart. It's really a special time where we can all be vulnerable and connected because God truly does work through community. And so thank you for creating a space, Women's Federation and Kayla and Katerina. Just wanted to really acknowledge that, just how sacred this time is. I also too had a mini miracle with my kids. My kids have been going to bed at crazy hours, as Kayla can attest to, sometimes as late as 11 o'clock, midnight, depending on what happened during the day, but they all fell asleep, all four of them, and I'm by myself with the kids. My husband's away for work by 8:55. So I wasn't sure I was going to make it too. So I do agree with Isaiah and with what she said about how Spirit World and God really wants to support us through our babies when the time is right. One thing though that I did want to bring up, because I did hear a lot of this, like, I don't know where to begin. I'm scared, right? And it is very scary. But one thing that I've held on to through my entire life of ministry and what I felt really called to share is something that I learned many years ago when I was balancing young children, trying to get my doctorate, and being a pastor of a church community all at the same time. And one thing one professor told me that I really felt was a message from God was that all who, you may not be qualified, right? Who God calls may not always be qualified, but God qualifies all whom he calls. And what that means is that even though we feel that we're lacking, missing, how do we start? We have such full plates. If we feel the calling in God's heart, in our heart, and if you feel a calling in our heart from God, and we step up, God will provide us with all that we need to accomplish it. And I'm not saying that everyone is going to get this calling from God, right? Because all of us have different callings. And we have to also honor that as well. But if in your heart right now is burning, like, I need to do more, I want to do more, God's calling me to do more, but how? I'm already past capacity. God will give you that extra energy that you need, or those skills that you need to develop. And I say this from personal experience because I was the shy girl that could never public speak at all, cried every time, ran away from the crowd every time I had to talk. And I could really relate with Katerina because I also didn't really have friends. I didn't know how to talk to people. It's like I liked my church friends, but my neighbors, I didn't know them, I mean, this is years ago. So I had this similar, when she was saying, I was like, all the time. Like, yep, I was that was me. But when God called me to different things, I was like, I fought with God a lot. I'm like, are you serious? Are you kidding me? No, God, I can't do that. But God provided the tools, the experiences, the relationships, the teachings every step of the way. So I'm saying that as an encouragement that if you feel called at all tonight, or throughout after this call when you're praying or reflecting, don't let yourself hold you back, because God sees your infinite potential and wants to support you in what you're doing. And I guess the final part that connects to all this is that if there is a will, there is always a way. It may not be an easy way, but it takes that first step, which is always the hardest. And I know these three things I say are quite cliche, but there's just so much truth to that. So I guess with prayer, I want to leave over every one of you sisters here is that you can hear God's call in your heart, that you can have the courage to take the first step, and that when you take those steps, you can have the security knowing that you're following God's call in your life, no matter what it is. And every calling is valuable and needed by God, whether it's to raise amazing second, third, fourth generation, if that's your call to be a fantastic mother, or if it's to lead the next organization, or to be a sub-regional women's fed leader, like whatever it is, like every role, every responsibility is so valuable and needed by God and True Mother. And as long as you have the right heart, as long as you have a heart for God and everything you do, that's what True Mother needs. And yeah, anywho, that's what was coming to me today. And I just want to say that God loves you all. And I'm just so grateful to be on a call with all of you.
Thank you, Mari. I call Mari Prophetess Mari because she has such an amazing spiritual antenna and can channel exactly what needs to be said. Thank you, Mari. Yeah, Nina.
Yeah. Can I just say, Mari, I'm a big believer of, where there's a will, there's a way. I was like asked by Reverend, Damian Dunkley to do this workshop. I was told the Sunday to come on the Wednesday. And, I have all these kids and, I had no babysitting, nothing, but somehow everything came together. And I was able to make it happen. I got babysitting. I took my baby with me and, somebody babysat in Las Vegas, like everything worked out. So I'm a big believer in that. And I also wanted to say thank you, Kaylee, because yeah, I know it's not easy to come out and like talk about, it's a very unpopular opinion, right? To really like push us, like our potential, and so you're pushing us, just like True Mother, I think. She knows our potential, and that's what she wants, she loves us, but she wants to push us because she knows we can do more. And I think, why we can accept that is because we see you trying. Like we can see you trying, and with True Mother too, we see her trying so hard. And because of that, we can accept it. It doesn't come across as a judgment of like, oh, you're not doing enough, like we're trying to figure this out together. And yeah, I really appreciate that. And I think ever since I did a podcast with you, that one time when we really read True Mother's words and dug deep in, and also with Reverend Dunkley at the workshop, he really took True Mother's speeches and dug deep, like what is she saying behind the words that she's saying? What is she not saying? What's her heart behind those words? And I think ever since that, I've tried to look at True Mother's speeches from a different perspective, because before I was just like listening to them, but like, okay, she's saying the same things over and over, but now I'm trying to like dig deeper and trying to connect deeper with True Mother. And I think this last workshop in Las Vegas really, with the prayer, I think the prayer part was really missing in my life. And so now I'm trying to create a change in myself first, like to truly understand true parents. And I think through that, that'll shine out, naturally. So yeah, I'm just trying to pray now, pray more sincerely and openly. And, sometimes I have doubts about true parents. But whenever I have those doubts, I can still feel Heavenly Parent like saying, this is my daughter, this is my son. Like I truly love them. And for me, I have to trust Heavenly Parent. So whenever I doubt, even true parents, I always go back to Heavenly Parent. Like, Heavenly Parent, I'm struggling with this, and then he always says, like, just trust me. So I'm like learning to trust more, I think, and let go of like my concepts and just learning to trust and surrender. And the last thing I wanted to say is it's not easy to juggle a lot of things. And I also feel like, how can I take on more? But at the same time, I feel it's truly a blessing to be able to like raise my family at the same time as doing mission and like supporting True Mother. Because I know the previous generation, they had to leave everything to support True Mother. But for me, I'm so grateful that I can still be there for my family and also, support True Mother. And that's something I hope that we can figure out together is how can we still be there and show up for our families, but also, support True Mother. So thank you for pioneering that, Kaylee.
Wow. So beautiful. Thank you, Nina. Yeah, well, Nina is also really modeling this public life and managing lots of babies at home. Thank you, Nina. Really beautiful. We're going on more than 2 hours. I'm so sorry.
We were all waiting for this, Kaylee.
Apparently.
Yeah,
Well,
we love it.
So beautiful. Just that, anyway, everybody wants it. Everybody's longing for it. It's like an answer to something we can't like verbalize what's there, right? But it's answered by us sharing together like this. It's really beautiful.
Share.
Yeah, Grace, please.
It's very short and it's just something that's coming up for me right now. Kind of like as I'm watching this and like listening to all of this, just some of Mother's words are coming to me. Yeah, like recently I started going back and reading Mother's speeches starting from like 2012, 2013. And that was, a really difficult time for her, I'm sure. And there's this one, it's like not a full thing. It's probably not even like the perfect translation. It's on tparents.org. But it says she was talking to Women's Fed actually during New Year's. And it's just reminding me of this moment. It's just like this one simple thing she said to Women's Federation. She said something along the lines of, I thought that I was all alone. I thought that I had no one. But then I see all of you and I realize that that's not true. I realize that I have sisters. And, I think in some ways, like, obviously we didn't understand Mother fully. And like, anyway, the thing she was telling Women's Fed back then is the same thing that she's saying now. But I just like, I feel like this is another moment. Like if Mother were here, I feel like she'd be saying the same thing right now. And I feel like she would be tearing up. So yeah, anyway, just wanted to share that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you, Grace. Okay, I think I'm almost at, well, there's a few that didn't get a chance to share. So those who didn't get to share, if you want to, you can. No pressure. It's not required. Hanmi, you're saying things. Is that you talking yourself into it? I don't know. No pressure. It's really okay. Okay, last call for anybody. Oh, go. Oh, okay, sure. Go ahead,
You
honey.
called me out. What you expect me to do?
Also with you others, just their faces are not seen.
It's hard. It's really, thank you for all that you do, first of all, Kaylee. That's amazing. That even the shock of getting a sweater, I'm surprised you took that so well, if anything. But it's amazing because I feel like I feel like I'm kind of out of place many times. I want to do so many creative events, so many seasonal things that would bring people. But I'm all here by myself. And I think that's the hardest part. And I think what annoys me the most is I don't like being vulnerable at all because I was taught not to. That's really the hard part. Even if I want to cry, I won't because I don't remember how. It's very strange for me as a person because I remember witnessing my mom and dad when I was a little kid. I did not like it at all. I would rather be very, very cynical. Like I was the cute little kid that was laced with cyanide kind of situation. I was very sassy. And my parents didn't like that because I would ask people, well, why is this so hard for you? What's so hard about having a mom and a dad and kids that really love God? And I asked a lot of questions as a kid. And I remember always being shot down for it, just for being myself. But you really brought it to the forefront that maybe that's what we need to do. Maybe we really have to be that way. So if it makes anyone feel any better, I'm scared too, but I'm brave enough to stand up and do it. So if you have any plans, I'm all ears. It's just wanting to help you in figuring out how to do them and how to do that in a very natural and very simplistic way that would really encourage a lot of people to really want to do this too. So that's my 2 cents because I don't want to keep everybody up. I'm over here drinking coffee, so that's probably not a good thing. But it's wonderful to see you all and really to see your hearts. I'm kind of jealous in many ways too, because I really want to have that kind of vulnerability one day again. But it takes a lot because after you get beaten up so much and you grow up in a really tough environment, it's hard to feel that again, but it's good to see it. Even though I watch it, I hope that one day I'll feel that again too, because I know it's there. It's definitely there. I feel it, but it doesn't really show on my face. And I think that's what pains me the most. So I hope I feel that. With working with Women's Fed, I feel that a lot more. And I'm really grateful for that. So thank you, ladies, especially Katarina. You're awesome too. And Grace, it's always a pleasure. And every last lady on here that I've met before or haven't met before, you guys are awesome. Thank you for sticking around this long. It's like 11:13 p.m. That's it.
Thank you, Hanmi. Thank you for being willing to reveal more about yourself. You are very welcome here and loved here. Okay, my wonderful sisters, I think we'll call it a night. I got this very sweet text from my husband. I texted him. I said, I'm sorry, everyone's sharing so deeply. He's like, don't worry, what you're doing is so important. And he said, I've been praying for the success of your meeting. You know, like ding, ding, ding. Great points, husband. That was awesome. But I do want to release people so they can go home and be with their families or just go to sleep. For those of you who are on the East Coast, give me a little time to figure out what to do with all this. I did have a clear call to action, but I want to do this the right way. So for those of you who, you know, want to try to get involved in Women's Fed and try some things with us and figuring it out with us, let me be in touch and figure out the right way to plug people in. But yeah, feel free to message me directly if there's a way you want to connect, or the person who invited you, please feel free to message them directly and we'll figure it out. Katarina, let's talk tomorrow. I lost a process from this, but yeah, okay. Anyways, I love you guys so much. This was so beautiful. And I'm totally going to write a beautiful report about this for Mother. And I think it will really comfort her heart. It's amazing. Okay, thank you guys. Have a wonderful night. Until next time, thank you.